Hello and welcome to the Oxbridge Formula. Here at the Oxbridge Formula, we offer a variety of online courses and intensive summer and half-term courses aimed at better preparing you for applying to Oxbridge. Visit our website, the link is just down below, to view our admissions test prep and our interview prep. And you can also go on the website to look at blogs that have been written by students about students to see a good insight into life at Oxford and Cambridge. So today, I'm so happy to welcome Rosie to the talk today. She is a student at Sidney Sussex College. Do you want to tell me a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, hi, I'm Rosie. I'm a second year history student at Sydney, about to go into my third year.
Perfect. So I think a big question that students have when they're applying to Oxford or Cambridge is, how do you pick a college? So how did you pick your college?
So I was applying on my gap year and I was working full-time shift work, and so working weekends and everything. So looking at open days, there were only certain days I could do, and Sydney's open day happened to fall on a weekend that I was off work. So I booked that and I went along, having been to a lot of Cambridge open days and stuff the year before as well. So yeah, I went along to the Sydney one and I met one of my current DOSes and a lot of students and other DOSes, and everyone was just so friendly, and I just loved the vibes. I loved everything that I kind of heard about the college, the fact that accommodation was all on site, that sort of thing. So that kind of that just did it for me. It felt like the stars had aligned, that I was able to go, and I met all these lovely people. So yeah.
Oh, that's so great. That's so nice. There's a lot of questions from that's really interesting to delve into. So first of all, you said DOSes. Could you just explain for viewers what they are?
Of course. So directors of studies are DOSes, are the fellow, usually at your college, who's kind of in charge of your academics. So you meet with them a couple of times a term. If you're going off track or you need help with something, they'll be the person you kind of call on, and they arrange your supervisions. They're kind of like your one-stop academic shop.
Oh, that's really good. That's really nice. I don't know what the equivalent is at Oxford actually, but that's really cool. And you said that there's you went to a Sidney Sussex open day. So at Cambridge, do different colleges have different open days, or is there a big Cambridge-wide one?
So our Cambridge, this Cambridge Open Day, where all the colleges are open, all the faculties are open, is 2nd and 3rd of July, so next week. And then throughout kind of spring, early summer, and also autumn, colleges host their own open days, which tend to just be like an afternoon or something, and they'll arrange talks. So you can go along to those as well as going to the kind of broader one, where you probably don't have time to spend a lot of time at a specific college.
That's good. What was your first impression of Sidney Sussex on the open day?
It was quite a while ago now, so I don't really remember. I just remember standing in a room chatting to my daughters. I don't remember going in. I know it was very central, and that appealed to me. And it's obviously opposite Sainsbury's, so that was probably my first impression.
That's ideal.
Yeah. So yeah, I think the centrality and just how small and pretty it is. And also you go in and the wall is across the street, and you've come off this busy street, but once you get in, it's much quieter than you would expect, and it's kind of like a little safe haven in the middle of town, and it's a lot bigger than you would expect as well, kind of being in that position. So yeah.
That's really nice that it's in the centre of town, but also it is nice and quiet and a tranquil place, because if you're studying, and obviously Cambridge is going to be a stressful place because you have the workload, I suppose, so it's nice to have that tranquility in your little, like you said, safe haven of the college. So that's really, really sweet. That's really nice. So let's talk about college facilities a little bit. Do you want to tell me a little bit about the library at Sidney Sussex?
Yeah, sure. I spend plenty of time there being an history student. So Sydney Library is on 2 floors. It's open 24/7, which was also a big thing for me because I'm a bit of a night owl. So when I was looking for colleges, a library that's open 24/7, because they aren't all, was a really big bonus. And it has Alan the librarian, who will help you out as much as he can. He will order books and send them to you in the holidays if you need, and there's something that the library doesn't have anyway. And it's books are very available, there's plenty for kind of everyone who does humanities subjects. There's a really good kind of amount of choice for history students, but in particular I know law students, that sort of thing. There's a little room off it which is the law library. It has all the law books in, where the lawyers spend a lot of time, but it's also a room that people can use to kind of work a little bit more collaboratively. Tends to be the lawyers who use it most, but it kind of, because it's away from everyone else, people can chat a bit more. There's also a computer lab upstairs, which I know quite a few of the STEM subjects use, and then just loads of kind of tables and desks that people kind of use most of the time. People, like when it gets to exam term, people kind of end up with their own seats, and you see the same people coming in all the time, which is quite nice. And it is right in the centre of college, so yeah, you can kind of walk through it to get to other places, so it's very much like a hub.
That's really nice. And is there anything that's like specific to Sidney Sussex Library that you haven't seen at the libraries?
I think the 24/7 opening is different to other colleges. That's probably the main thing. I know pretty much all Cambridge College libraries are really well equipped and have friendly staff on the whole, and are really willing to help you out. So I don't think that's kind of exceptional, but yeah, the times for me were a big thing.
What's your favourite like memory of the library? Because I know there's some like funny things going on in the Somerville library. Like 1 a.m. people will come in from the clubs and chuck things at each other and stuff. So what's your favourite memory of the library?
Yeah, I think late night working, when you kind of get to the point that there's only you and like a couple of friends kind of left, and you'll end up chatting for ages, which isn't the most productive, but it's kind of that sort of we're all in this together atmosphere, and everyone's super supportive at that time of night. So yeah, that kind of late night camaraderie is really lovely.
Yeah, that's really nice. There's a lot of people in Somerville who like are night owls and they'll spend all night in the library, and I can't even imagine what the atmosphere is like at like 2 or 3 in the morning, because I've never actually been in there that time, but it must be so weird, but like quite a nice environment, I suppose, because like you said, there is that sort of we're all in this together atmosphere, and I think that's true like across the whole of the uni really, because all of you have so much work. You all are going to spend a lot of time in the library and stress, so yeah, I think there is a lot of that we're all in this together environment, and that's really, really nice. Do you have a college bar? Because I suppose after you've had a long day in the library, you're going to need to chill out a little bit.
Yeah, so the college bar is kind of under the library actually.
Oh, that's so weird.
Or like you just go down a couple of flights of stairs.
Oh,
Yeah, Sydney Bar is kind of famed throughout Cambridge because it's student run. There are only 1 or 2 other college bars that are student run,
that's interesting.
and that means the prices are really cheap. So, and the atmosphere is also really great. The college bar staff, so students, you can get a shift there and get trained to work in the bar and then choose your shift. So it's a great way to earn a little bit of money. So obviously you can't have a proper job at Cambridge.
Yeah.
So a lot of people do work the occasional shift in the bar, and bar manager is a student, and it's all very like professionally run. She or he has a lot of responsibility to make sure the bar is operating legally, that sort of thing. So it's like very professional, but you have that great atmosphere of it being student run and some great cocktails on offer. And the bar has like comfy sofas and a pool table and a darts board and that sort of thing, and it's really definitely a hub for everyone to go to kind of on an evening to like sit with friends. Just I have so many good memories. We go there after formals, we go there just like if we want to meet up one night and have a chat, and it's just, yeah, it tends to be pretty busy most nights. Yeah, it's a big part of Sydney.
So would you say that's sort of like the hub of social life in the evenings and things?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
There's the JCR TV room as well. That's more kind of like go there to watch TV or for a specific meeting or that sort of thing. Whereas Sydney Bar is kind of, you don't have to, like, because it's student run and it's just college, you don't have to go and get a drink or anything. And at the moment, all like soft mixer non-alcoholic drinks like Coke and lemonade are all free anyway. So there's no pressure to go.
Oh.
Yeah, I know. There's no pressure to go and like buy a drink or anything. You can just literally go and sit with friends for half an hour and leave. And pretty much, I know if I go in there on an evening, I will likely see somebody I'm friends with, and you can just go and sit and chat and chill. And it's just, yeah, it's really lovely.
I'll just clarify that the JCR is the junior common room, so it's like a room where like the undergraduates can chill out in. I definitely want to talk about that in a minute. But I'm really intrigued to know if you've got a like signature college drink. Because I know some Oxford colleges have their college drink and it's like a big part of their identity. So just wondering if you guys had one.
We have a list of bespoke Sydney cocktails.
Wow.
With all like different sort of vaguely related names, like the Master and that sort of thing. I would say the one that Sydney does get known for is the Fuse box, which primarily because it has a flake chocolate bar stuck in it.
Ooh, sounds
Yeah.
incredible.
Yeah, but we also have every month there's the charity cocktail. So I know there was one for an AIDS charity last autumn, which was just so delicious. So they all the time, and there are some classics as well.
That's so nice. And how much do they cost, the average like Sydney cocktail?
I can't remember exactly, like under £3 or around £3 mark, I think.
Wow, that's really good. That's cheap. That is cheap, really, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Especially for like Oxford and Cambridge, like where if you go to a normal bar, you pay £5 for a pint. So that's really good. Do you know how much a pint is in the bar?
No, because I'm not a big pint drinker. I think
Fair.
gin and tonic is like £1.20 because you only pay for the gin. So
oh my gosh, it's so cheap. That's so good. That is a big reason to go to Sydney. That's insane. Oh my gosh. And what do you think makes the atmosphere so nice? Like, is there music playing? Are there like events like darts games and things like that?
Yeah, so music playing, and there are events. Not every evening. The atmosphere is still great every evening. I think the atmosphere is great because so many people go, and because Sydney's a small college, there's about 110 per year. So you do recognise, like, you know, a lot of people and you recognise the rest pretty much. So you're surrounded by people you kind of have got to feel comfortable with and that sort of thing. And it's also within the accommodation kind of areas. So it's kind of like part of your home. So I think that's part of it. And also there are events. Bar's not that big, so they do kind of tend to take over the whole space. So they're more like exceptional rather than the average night. So we have quizzes every few weeks, which are a huge like draw, really, really popular. They definitely get the bar to capacity most times. And yeah, we've had darts competitions, students versus porters, that sort of thing.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
So porters are the people who are at the front gate. You've got a front gate, yeah, and so they control who comes in and out of the college. They're basically there to keep you safe, and if you have any problems in the evenings or even in the day, you contact them. So that's really cool that they get involved in like with all the students in that aspect of life at Sidney Sussex too. That's really cool.
Yeah, there's a lot of things like collecting your post. I know on my birthday, 2 sets of people sent me flowers and I went to collect the second lot. They were like, oh, it's your birthday. It must be your birthday. Like, really friendly. Also worth mentioning as well that all the porters' lodges around Cambridge are available for a student to go into at any time. So if you're on a night out, for example, I know most of the clubs are kind of opposite Christ, so I know they get a lot of people. So if you need any like first aid or help or anything like really urgently, then porters' lodges are like a safe place that any student can go. They have an agreement, which is really nice for kind of making you feel safe around Cambridge wherever you are.
That's really nice. Yeah, I really value porters because like, you know, it can be scary, especially like when you're walking home from a club at night and, you know, and maybe if you're doing it alone, which you probably shouldn't, but it's so nice to like come into the gates and you know the porter's there and they'll like look after you and you can report any issues to them, etc. So yeah, it's a great thing to have. I definitely agree. So let's talk a little bit more about your JCR. What makes Sidney Sussex's JCR like special to you?
I would say we spend less time, like in general, socialising in the JCR compared to the bar because the bar is obviously so amazing.
Yeah.
So the JCR is kind of, we have TV nights, there's a Wii, there's a lot of board games and that sort of thing. We also have like any kind of clubs and societies you want to meet often meet there, and there's a big table as well you can work at. So that's kind of quite popular in exam time. So yeah, it's just kind of a cozy place in the centre of college that you can go to for whenever you want to chill with your friends or whenever you need to book a meeting space for a club or something like that.
Yeah, I sort of describe it like to people who don't go to Oxford and Cambridge as like the college lounge. Like if you were at home, you have your lounge that you sit and chill in and play board games, watch telly. So it's sort of like a lounge for everyone to sit in, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. And there's the MCR and SCR as well. So the MCR is for grads and SCR is like fellows and stuff. So the JCR is purely undergrads.
Perfect. And then obviously the dining hall is like, I mean, everyone wants to know about the dining halls at Oxford and Cambridge because of Harry Potter. So what's the Sidney Sussex dining hall like?
So Sydney is currently undergoing a lot of building works. We've got the kitchen project. So the kitchen is being redone. They've done a huge amount of like archaeological surveys and stuff to like dig under the dining hall and that sort of thing. So the hall is there at the moment. My second year, this last year, we only had formals in the hall, and we've used it's called the Mung Hall, a more modern, just like space for kind of normal dining nights, like hall we call it. So formals have been in the main hall, which is kind of like a bit more Harry Potter-esque, that sort of thing, whereas normal nights we've been eating elsewhere. But on a normal year, so my first year, we had dining in that hall as well.
That's really cool. And is it like classic Harry Potter to you, or I mean, are there like big portraits on the wall, and is it like a really, really long hall, or is it slightly different, slightly quirky?
Yeah, it's pretty long, lots of portraits of masters, mistresses, and then the head table with where the fellows sit, and they also have a separate door to come in. So yeah, I'd say it's pretty classic. It's not entirely Harry Potter-esque. I mean, I went to an open day and stayed over at Christ Church in Oxford, so it's not quite that cool, but it's pretty classic. If you want like classic Cambridge, Oxford, then yeah, it'll do for you.
It'll do the job.
Yeah.
So let's talk about food. I mean, we'll talk about normal day-to-day food, and then we'll go into formals, because formal hall is like a big deal at Oxford and Cambridge. So normal day-to-day, how would you describe the food?
Varied, like reasonably priced. I eat in hall quite a lot. A lot of my friends prefer to cook. I don't like cooking, and so go to a hall. You can get takeout, or you can. So sometimes I get takeout and go and sit with my friends who are cooking. Other times, like my friends are going, or like other friends are going, or whatever. So I'll go and sit with them. Usually see someone you know in there, so you can kind of just wander through. Yeah, they do desserts as well, and they're open for breakfast, lunch, and dinner on weekdays, and Saturday brunch, Saturday dinner, and Sunday dinner.
Okay.
So, yeah, so Saturday brunch is like big breakfast. People do go for breakfast on weekdays. I can't say that I do. It's primarily just like a cooked English breakfast, which I don't feel the need for. But they do offer, like, you could never buy anything from Sainsbury's if you didn't want to.
That's really good.
Sundays, so yeah.
That's really nice. And like you said, it's reasonably priced. How much would you say a typical meal is? So if I got a main meal and a pudding of an evening, how much would that cost?
So you pay per like main meal, and you pay differently whether it's vegetarian or if it's like a special or something. Or we're talking like differences within like kind of under £1. And then you pay for the like sides of vegetables, and they give really big vegetable portions, which is probably quite good for students.
Yeah.
Who need the vitamins. But so yeah, I'd say if you got like a main, a couple of veg sides, and like a dessert as well, you'd be looking like £3 something probably.
Wow, that's cheap. That's really good, because at Somerville, I mean, a main like that and a pudding, you'd pay around £5, maybe a bit more. So that's really well priced.
Yeah, no, I don't think I've ever paid £5. Like you might pay £4 something if you went like for like the really good options and like got whatever, but no, not £5, I don't think.
And are the vegetarian options quite good too for those who are vegetarian?
Yeah, I'm not vegetarian, but I'll often choose like the veggie option anyway. So I know, like, for example, lasagna on Thursdays is really popular, but the veggie lasagna is also great. So
that's really good. And if you had to pick like your favorite meal you've ever had, not non-formal, but your favorite meal you've ever had at college, what would it be?
I don't know. Like their pasta options are really good. So as I said, lasagna is really popular. A lot of people, if they cook and they're going to go to hall, they're going to go on a Thursday for lasagna. So they do a really good cannellini, like pasta with like a green sauce in it as well, which sounds weird the way I describe it. Really good. So yeah, probably pasta options.
That's cool. That's really nice. And it's good to know that you can take away food as well, so that you
Mhm.
can go and eat with your friends who are cooking in the kitchens. And talking of kitchens, for those who have the energy and time to cook, are there lots of kitchens around Sydney, and are they quite good quality?
So everyone has like a kind of local kitchen to them who they share with a few other people where they live. Kitchens can either be like full kitchens, like with a dining table, or like big kitchen table to
Wow.
see 8, 10 people, and like all load of facilities, or they're probably like more rare, but you will generally live near enough to one that if you particularly wanted to go, or like your friends were living near one, so you kind of have access to that. But the more standard kind of one to live near is a gyp, which is like a little narrow kitchen that might not necessarily have an oven, although some of them do, but will have a microwave, will have a hob, that sort of thing.
Okay,
Um,
yeah.
so like if you just want to go and heat up some pasta or whatever, then that's fine.
That's really cool that you've got like in some of the kitchens you've got actual kitchen tables, because there are like quite a lot of kitchens in Somerville, which is the college I'm in Oxford. But there's no kitchen tables, so if you want it all eat together, you have to go and sit in someone's room on the floor or sit on the kitchen floor. So yeah, that's really cool that they've got that. And then I think we should talk about formal halls.
Mhm.
So I know that formals are like a highlight of the term. I love going to formals. So do you want to tell me a little bit about them at Sydney?
Yeah, so Sydney formals happen 3 times a week. So, but you don't tend to go 3 times a week. I mean, you can, but people don't, unless you're in choir, because they go after chapel and they get it for free like a couple of times a week or whatever. I don't exactly know how it
Yeah,
works,
that's
but
cool.
choruses go a lot. Everyone else will book on. You can book on up to 2 weeks in advance. Online on the Sydney portal, and so you book on like for someone's birthday or something like an event. It tends to be like special, like parents are coming or something like that, and yes, you book on. It's Wednesdays, Fridays, and Sundays, and then you can also see the menu online, and then you go along and you kind of sit on these long tables with your friends, and it's like waiter service, 3 courses. You bring your own bottle of wine for a standard formal. You buy them like at the buttery in a way. Um, so yeah, and you have to
That's really
say
cool.
grace and stuff. Master or whoever will say Latin grace, and then the fellows kind of come in. It's quite formal in that way, as it sounds, and you wear your gown.
Do they come in through the back door that you mentioned? Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that dramatic effect. I really enjoy that. How much does a formal normally cost?
£9.
Oh, that's quite good.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really good. I mean, for a three-course meal too, it's so cheap.
Yeah, it's definitely very affordable. So if you like going for a birthday or something, it's definitely worth it. And it's a really nice atmosphere as well. As I said, it's quite formal. The fellows come in and that sort of thing, so you get that sense of occasion. There's
Yeah.
candles. So once the fellows leave after the end of dessert and the grace has been said, like if it's someone's birthday, choir will sing happy birthday to them, and it's like people get photos in hall to like remember the birthday and that sort of thing. So yeah, it's really nice.
Do people dress up as well for those formals? Because I know at some colleges, like they have formals, but they sort of like wear joggers and then put their gown over them. So
Yeah,
what's it
no,
like in
definitely
Sydney?
not. It's like you can make of it what you will. I would say like there is a dress code in terms of like being smart. Like you probably wouldn't wear jeans.
Hmm.
I would usually wear like a skirt and a top and maybe like a heeled boot or something, like just like not like black tie or anything crazy, just like making an effort, quite nice, like kind of going to a nice restaurant with your parents kind of vibes.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. And are there any special formals, like Christmas or Burns Night, etc.?
They're only special in terms of like the menu changes.
Okay.
So there'll be like the Christmas formal, but it's only like called that because of the menu changing. They're not like put on necessarily specially. There are special events which use like formal. So for example, halfway hall, which is in second year, halfway through a degree, and parents' feasts, where all the parents come and the masters there and that sort of thing. But they're not like typical formals, they're on like separate nights.
Okay.
So yeah.
Have you got a favourite formal memory?
Ooh, they're all special in their own way.
Yeah.
um, yeah, I guess like parents' feasts and halfway hall and that sort of thing, matriculation dinner. like the kind of special formals were very special. In terms of like general formals, probably like just going for my birthday with all my friends and then heading to the bar afterwards, that sort of night is obviously a really special kind of time you only get for 3 years. So yeah.
Yeah, and I suppose like it's such a unique experience that like it's good to make the most of it while you're there, because when else are you gonna be going to a formal in a Harry Potter-esque hall? So yeah, that's really cool.
Exactly. I know I have friends who got slightly bored of going to formal because we did end up going like 8 times, 9 times in a term or something. But yeah, it's special.
Yeah, it's such a nice occasion. I really, really enjoy formals. And then moving on from formals to like more general events in college. Do you have bops at your college, or are they called something else?
Yeah, no, they're called bops. So they're not super like frequent. Definitely like at least once a term, but not like once a week.
Okay.
Because Sydney is quite small, and so kind of when there's a bop in the bar or whatever, it kind of like the noise travels and that sort of thing. So they are kind of a special event, and they usually happen for a specific like reason. Like there'll be like an LGBT bop, or a like a silent disco, or a 80s themed refreshers bop for the start of like second term or something like that. And obviously a lot of events in Freshers Week. Sydney is known for its silent discos, like our June event and a Freshers Week and that sort of thing. Like silent discos are really good.
That's good to know. That's really cool. So like, what do bops sort of entail at Sydney? So I guess they're held in the bar,
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and
so,
there's lots of cheesy music and things. Like, what
yeah,
goes on?
pretty much. People sign up to DJ, so it tends to be like Sydney students, like people that you know will be DJing, and they kind of like take it in turns throughout the night, so it changes a little bit. But pretty much, yeah, cheesy music. You can obviously get drinks at the bar, and people will dress up for the theme, like 80s or whatever. And they don't get held super late. The latest like you can have an event in the bar and you need special permission from the domestic bursar, which is 1. Usually events in the bar will finish by 11, so 11 or 1, to kind of give people time to get to bed, and people who aren't going and want to sleep can. But yeah, they're just like really fun occasions. You have to go anywhere because they're in college. Just kind of a nice like night to break up the term.
What's the best costume you've ever seen?
Ooh, there were some good ones for the Freshers Bop had a theme of kind of the letter that your name starts with, and we have a lot of J's in our year, so they all went as different jelly babies. And then everybody else chose to go as Jesus. So yeah, that was kind of an interesting one to go and see like what everyone kind of chose to go as.
Yeah, I love bops because like the crazy costumes that people come up with are just hilarious. And like there is like a varying degree of how much effort people put in, but like it's so funny to see. And I think you're right, like the freshers bops. So like I know Somerville has bops right at the end of Freshers Week, and the freshers you wouldn't think they'd be so confident to like make such like fools of themselves in their costumes, but honestly I applaud them because they're so good, like really impressive. I remember for my first bop at Somerville, I went as a spoon, and me and my friends sort of like made like foil hats and made like big spoon heads, and it was so weird. Yeah, it's so weird. And what about balls at Sidney Sussex? Like,
Yeah, so as I said, we've got a lot of building works going on at the moment. So the whole time I've been here, we haven't been able to have like a full May ball, which is usually what would happen at Sydney. But because it's quite a small college, once the building works are happening, there is not the space to hold a full May ball. So we have a June event at the moment,
okay,
which is like a slightly smaller version, pretty much has all the same like food options and then a few like fewer attractions. And is half the price and only an hour shorter. So yeah, so the ball kind of takes over the grounds. Like you have all the like amazing food options. People dress up, although it's not black tie because it's a June event. But it is still like smart. You can go and buy a lovely dress and that sort of thing. And yeah, it's kind of, I think it's like a smaller event held in your own college is pretty special because although you plan to go to, for example, I went to Jesus last year and like all of my like close friends and kind of wider friendship group went as well, so it was really lovely. But Jesus Sydney has like everyone you know goes in college. So like the vast majority of people in college go. So even people you aren't close friends with or who aren't in your year will be there. So it's kind of a really nice way to kind of celebrate the year with everyone you've seen around for the whole time. So I think that's what makes it really special for us.
Yeah, that's so nice that it's like the nice Sydney community feel to your event. Yeah, I really like that. And you said that it's cheaper than normal. So how much would a normal May Ball ticket be for Sydney, and how much is the June event?
I'm guessing the Sydney May Ball, obviously I haven't been to any, would be the normal May Ball cost, which is about £160.
Okay.
Um, the June event ticket is £89, I think, so around 90 mark, under 90. So yeah, nearly half the price, and a really good option if you don't want to commit to the whole May Ball thing, or if you are doing a full May Ball and then you kind of go along to Sydney with your friends and that sort of thing.
That's really nice, yeah. And you said that it finishes an hour later, an hour earlier than the May Ball. So what time does the June event finish then?
I think 3 a.m.
Okay, so it's like it's a long night. Like you're getting your money's worth.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
100%. Yeah, no, Jesus. I think the survivor photo was actually at 5, but people started drifting away before then.
Okay.
So it's kind of like sometime in the early morning they finish.
Yeah.
But yeah, you definitely get your money's worth either.
And I can vouch for the fact that by 3:30, you just want to go to bed. Your feet are killing from your high heels. It's like
I've
it's bedtime.
definitely learned, like, take trainers with you, take a jumper,
Yeah.
like.
Yes, it may be summer. So like it may be warm initially for the first hour of the ball, and then you're outside for the rest of the night, and it gets so cold. So yeah,
And
definitely take a jacket.
Fitz winter ball. There are 2 winter balls and 1 spring ball, I think, that you can go to. They're not as popular as May balls, but they are like well attended, obviously. So we went to Fitz ball in December in our first year and didn't kind of clock that it would be majority outside. So yeah, I was there in my sleeveless dress. Luckily, some of the guys lent us jackets, but it was pretty chilly.
Oh, I
So
bet. Yeah.
yeah.
Must have been so cold. And what type of amusements do they have at the June event? Like, is it fairground rides or just sort of like games or what?
So there are like big swings and that sort of thing, like fairground rides. They have fewer options compared to like Maples, which have
Mm.
Dodger, like whatever those really high somethings, I don't know what they're called, like the typical fairground rides.
Yeah,
Yours Maples. We don't have space for that, but we do have like a few of the small options. We had like zorbing last year, that
that's
sort of
so
thing.
cool.
Yeah, really cool. And then obviously like big, like there was a big like hall for kind of like marquee for like silent disco and that sort of thing. So there's lots going on.
That's so cool. Yeah, it sounds so cool. I mean, I think events like that and little quirks of different colleges like really makes your experience and like really hits you that you're at Oxbridge. And I think things like that are so important because you can take it for granted so easy, and it just gives you the opportunity to shake yourself and be like, wow, like I can't
Yeah,
believe I'm here.
yeah.
Yeah,
I was walking around in like when we walked back after Jesus in the like early morning, and like the streets are full of people in tuxes but like shirts untucked after the night, and kind of like what you see in the Daily Mail after like Trinity. And it's just like that is the epitome of your like Oxbridge experience, I think.
I think it's cool. I think it's like just a really nice thing to be a part of. Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. And so I think a really important thing for people applying to colleges at Oxford and Cambridge is like equality and diversity. And I know you've got an Instagram that sort of like shows life at Cambridge and shows what it's really like from students' perspective, which I think is really great. So do you want to talk a little bit more about that and also about equality and diversity within your college?
Yeah, so Sydney has really good kind of access statistics in terms of admissions. I've been on like quite a few committees as part of my role in SCUSU, which is the Sidney Sussex College Students' Union. So I've kind of seen like how much work the access officers for students, but also admissions put in. We have an outreach area in the north east or west, northeast, I think. No, northwest. So they go out and work with schools, and the admissions department put in a lot of time for that. And yes, there are a lot of like that sort of thing. And there's also the shadowing scheme, which is the CUSU, Cambridge University Students' Union, does like a shadowing scheme for, I think it's just all state school students, I think, who can come along. And Sidney has a really, really good uptake for students, offering for those students to come and sleep in their rooms and show them around over like a couple of days and that sort of thing. We tend to get like one of the highest numbers despite our small size. So there's a lot of that, and people put in a lot of effort to kind of reach out. As you said, by Instagram, it's been like kind of the main goal for me is kind of to get in contact with people who will like reach people who aren't sure about applying or aren't sure what the work's like and don't know if it's kind of attainable, and kind of show them that it is just normal like studying, and then there are the highlights as well, and it's just normal people doing normal stuff in an amazing place. So yeah.
Do you want to tell the viewers what your Instagram handle is? So they can give you a follow.
At Studying at Cambridge is my handle.
Perfect. And so you said about Sidney Sussex having its own student union. Is that quite common for colleges? Because I've never heard of it at Oxford, so I'm not sure like if that's rare to Sydney or.
I'm pretty sure you have them. I don't know how they work, because I know we've done a sports day with our sister college, which is St John's in Oxford, and they had their union, but it works differently to ours. All Cambridge colleges have one. They have like the officers tend to have slightly different names, but they all do kind of the same thing. So you have.
Oh, okay. So it's like our JCR committee is your students' union. Okay, I get it. Okay, cool.
Our exec or JCR committee. The formal name is just students' union.
Okay.
So yeah, I would say I was on the JCR exec. So we have the kind of president, vice president, treasurer, and then a load of liberation officers, and then access officers and freshers officers are probably the main ones. And they work with college, give the student view. We sit on all the kind of college committees with staff, and do like lots of the fun stuff around college as well. So there's the ENT officers who put on the box and that sort of thing. And kind of liberation officers organise like dinners and events for people within their kind of remit. So for example, the women and non-binary officer, LGBT officer, BME officer, disabled officer, that sort of thing. So they'll do lots of events for that, and also represent the student voice.
That's so good. It's good to know that like students are heard at Sidney Sussex, and that like if you want changes made, that like you've got people to go to help get those changes made. So that's really, really good to know. And I think it's really important, especially with what's going on at the moment, like to have representation for these people, and to encourage them to apply to Oxford, because I know that Oxford and Cambridge are known for maybe not having less BAME students, which are Black, Asian, minority ethnic and things. So would you say there's good schemes in place to like draw these people to your college, so you get like a good diversity like within the college?
Yeah, definitely, I think so. I know we are currently building a new SCUSU, the JCR exec website, so hopefully people will be able to kind of look up Sidney and see that, see all the different kind of experiences. We also have the Humans of Sidney kind of project work on our Sidney JCR Instagram, which shows like different people's experiences and definitely highlights the kind of diversity of students. And yeah, obviously the formal schemes I kind of touched on that admissions work with. I know a lot of people have come in through being contacted by outreach, who've gone into their schools like from Sydney. Like all the colleges at Cambridge I think have their own outreach area, so ours is, as I said, I think the Northwest. So, and other colleges will have different areas, so you do tend to like kind of see that in the people that come. So there's quite a few from that area at Sydney who have come in because admissions kind of went to their school, which is like a really obvious kind of indication that those access schemes work, I guess.
Yeah, I think that's so important, because obviously people think that Oxford and Cambridge there's like one type of person that goes to those unis. So I think it's so important that colleges are doing that, and those colleges that are putting in the initiatives to encourage people from all areas of life to come to the uni. So it's good to know that Sydney is very much involved in that, and I think that shines like a good light on Sydney as a whole.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, don't mean to disrupt you then.
And our admissions department are great, and they take it very, very seriously.
That's really, really good. That's really good to know. And I think if I was applying to like a college, that would be really high on my priority list. So yeah, that's really, really good. And I've just got some like random questions just to finish off. So have you got any college traditions, and if so, what's your favourite?
Ooh, one that initially popped into my head, I mean, we have loads, I'm sure. But having spoken about the June event, is that after June event, or I guess after the Maples as well, specifically, we walk down to Castle Mound, which is like beyond Magdalen, or like a little tiny hill, and you can kind of see over Cambridge. We walk there like 3 or 4 in the morning or whatever, and watch the sunrise.
Oh,
Which
that's
is,
so nice.
and then some people will go to Cam afterwards as well. But the nice one is seeing the sunrise like after June event, which was really special. So yeah.
Do you have a college punt?
We do, yes. It is rented, not owned. I know like
Okay.
that sort of thing kind of have their own, but we do rent a bunch so that people can go back there, yeah.
That's so cool. I really like that. Yeah, in Somerville we rent a punt too. We don't have one. But I suppose we're not that close to the river. Are you quite close to the River Cam?
We're close as much as anything is in Cambridge, which is like a 5-minute walk.
Okay.
So yeah, you can't really go anywhere in Cambridge without coming across the river, but we're not like on the river, like for example Magdalen is, that sort of thing.
Okay, cool. Makes sense. And are there any college rivalries?
We don't have specific rivalries with anyone. We kind of just do our own thing. I know like college staff, when they're looking for comparator colleges, often compare us to Selwyn, just in terms of kind of size and statistics and that sort of thing.
Okay.
But we don't have any rivalries with anyone.
So I know some colleges in Oxford, they have like full-on rivalries with colleges. I mean, it's like jokey, but like they have chants against each other. So my sister's at St. Peter's, and they are have a rivalry with Teddy Hall, and they're always like beefing Teddy Hall in their chants. So yes, I suppose it's just like a little funny quirk of some colleges.
We don't have those. I think it's more like just John's on Trinity, and that's pretty much the only one.
So what would you say the most different colleges in Cambridge to your college?
Ooh.
And why, of course.
That's really hard because they all have their own like differences. Like I suppose the obvious answer is the non-central ones, but then Girton is the most non-central, like it's the furthest away. But everyone I've met from Girton has spoken about how amazing the community is, and like I've heard such lovely things about how close everyone is there and how like nice it is, which does remind me of Sydney. So I think there are similarities and differences at every college.
If you had to pick a more central college that was very different to Sydney, or the most different in some way, what would you say? Maybe in terms of reputation, because you know some colleges are like more communist, some are more conservative, like known for. So is there anything like any differences that way?
I'd say Sydney's just so kind of like, I don't want to say average, but very like standard.
Okay.
So obviously like King's is known as like the communist college. I have a friend at King's who is lovely, and yeah, so I can't really say like this is very different and weird. There are colleges where like the kind of like on paper differences are quite stark. Obviously like bigger colleges like John's or Trinity, again, I knew I didn't want a big college, so that was a reason for me like not even looking at those apart from to take pretty pictures.
Yeah.
So those are kind of like main things, and I think there is a big difference in being in a small college and a big college, and you kind of need to think about what you want. Obviously people have amazing times at both, but for me, I'd always been to like pretty small schools and enjoyed that environment. I do love how I can walk. I mean, my room to Sainsbury's this year was literally like 2 minutes door to door, if that, and I would be stopped to say hi or have a proper conversation with at least 5 people on the way, just because I know everyone. So I think that is a big difference to walking through huge courts at John's or Trinity or wherever, and also the living on site. So I really liked Keys on paper, and I liked like the bit in town, but then I realised how spread out the accommodation is. So if you want like change and that sort of thing, that's great. But for me, that wasn't what I wanted. So yeah, living on site or living kind of apart is it's actually quite hard to kind of work out often from the website. Like I know I kind of didn't clock how spread out the accommodation blocks were for like Keys and Clare and that sort of thing. And like nowhere is like super far, but of Keys, they are supposed to go to Hall like to eat several times in a week, but then it's not necessarily that close to their accommodation. Like it's, you know, a 10-minute walk across town, which isn't a big deal, but kind of there's a difference in like living 30 seconds from Hall and that sort of thing. So yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, because in Somerville, it's all on-site accommodation the whole time, and it is just like one big quad with loads of buildings surrounding it. So you are very close to Hall, and it is like a really amazing community atmosphere. And it sounds like it's very similar in Sydney. And would you say the accommodation is like quite standard across the college, or is there quite big differences?
I would say, in comparison to like if you're comparing to like other colleges, it's all pretty like standard. Obviously, like rooms very much differ. There are some en suites, there are some like the vast majority of ones that aren't en suites have a sink, but not all do. Like how close you are to like gyps versus full kitchens, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
There are fewer like of the kind of amazing kind of Cambridge rooms you see in films, like sets and that sort of thing, where they have at John's, because they just have the space.
Yeah.
We house everyone on site except for half of the freshers who are 30 seconds down the street, but they're still like part of the college and they kind of live together anyway, so it makes like doesn't make a huge difference like in terms of kind of being in college, but yeah, because it doesn't look like you should be able to house everyone in that space. So the rooms aren't like crazy big and amazing Cambridge things, but there are some that are really lovely and have fireplaces and that sort of thing. So they differ, but the ballot is random and you get to pick, but it's kind of a random order. So you get what you get.
Yeah, so I suppose all the rooms are nice at Sydney, but I guess some are just, some en suite, some aren't, and some are closer to the big kitchens and some aren't. Is that like the big difference, would you say, in the accommodation rooms? Like the en suite and the closeness to the kitchen?
Yeah, to which kind of kitchen you get. And obviously like the main thing is like being able to live with friends. You ballot in a group with your friends and kind of can choose like based on that. Yeah, they're all standard kind of uni type rooms and they work, and you can definitely make them your own and kind of make it work. So yeah,
it's quite nice that you can ballot with your friends. So is it similar in that it's like randomly generated numbers, so you pick in order of those numbers, but you get to group with some friends? Is that how it works?
in first year, kind of halfway, a bit more than halfway through maybe, you choose a group of 4 friends who you want, or a group of 3 friends and you, so 4 who you want to ballot with, and you become a ballot group, and that group is randomly ordered with all the other groups. Or you can ballot by yourself, but they randomly order the groups rather than the individuals, and then they order the individuals within that group as well, and then the order gets reversed at the end of second year choosing for third year. So then you might be able to choose a more preferable room that year or less preferable, so it's kind of fair and it's not to do with academic performance or anything.
I think that's really, really nice, because I interviewed someone from King's the other day, and she said it was just like you're like numbered completely separately individually, and then it's just reversed, etc. But it's so nice that at Sydney you can ballot with your friends and you're guaranteed to be with 3 other of your friends. I think that's so nice, and that's a huge perk to Sydney.
Yeah, definitely. And I know even like some friendship groups, like I know for me 2 out of the 4 of us are now actually not on the ballot, because one's got their rowing captain's room and one's going on a year abroad. So my close group are who kind of be split into 2 groups of 4. There are 8 of us, and they are kind of living on the other side of college, but that is a 30-second walk, so it kind of doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So wherever you live, you can go and pop in on friends, and my friends that I made through first year didn't. I have one close friend who lived on my corridor, but the rest are were like spread out throughout college, so it doesn't kind of change that. It makes it easier, I guess, if you all live on top of each other, but equally there are disadvantages to that, and like kind of, it makes seeing people less special, I guess.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, from the sounds of it, there's so many perks to picking Sydney. It's like small and really friendly. On-site accommodation, the whole like of your degree is such a perk in my opinion. And obviously the bar, incredible, so cheap and really cool. So yeah, it just sounds like such a nice college, and I really, really appreciate you talking to me today about it. And it seems like you're really happy there, which is great.
Yeah, I'm happy to talk about Sydney any day of the week. It's like my favourite. Yeah, I feel like the stars aligned, as I said, and I'm so glad that that weekend was one I could do and that I chose to go for it, because yeah, it was 100% the right college for me.
It's almost like it was fate, like you were meant to go on that date. So that's so lucky.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
It felt like that for sure.
Oh, well, thank you so much for talking to me today, and I hope you have a wonderful summer and enjoy the rest of your time at Sydney.
Yeah, no, you too. Absolutely. Thank you so much
Thank
for all your great questions.
Oh, thank you.